Hello, Casey. How are you? So I'm waving to you. My name is Monica. Let me just double check. I think you're not muted, but I cannot hear you. So let me double check with our technicians. Do you want to say something, Casey, to make sure we can hear you?
Yeah, try again. How about now?
Perfect. We can hear you now. So, Casey, first of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Monica. I am a volunteer with the United Chinese Americans. We're a civic engagement organization. And I wanted to thank you and also the Office of the Representative Catherine Clark for taking this meeting today. Let me first going to talk a little bit about how we want to structure the meeting. We are going to ask the leadership of UCA to introduce the organization, and then we will also ask you, Casey, to introduce yourself. Maybe tell us a little more. Happy to hear what you're working on. What is Representative Clark's priorities? And learn more about what your office is doing. But then I think the most important segment is we would love to introduce you to a group of leaders, both young and experienced, mature, who will be representing both the district and also the state of Massachusetts today. We actually have a pretty big group, but these are our volunteer leaders who will be speaking on the group's behalf. So let me actually pan over to the room. Everybody please wave to Casey. Can we pan over to the room? Okay, everybody wave. This is the UCA Congressional Delegation. So I know it's difficult to meet in person this time around, but hopefully in the future, we do this meeting maybe every other year. Definitely will love to be able to meet with you and the representative in person next time around. But again, we really appreciate this opportunity to speak with you. And then we'll wrap up in about 25 minutes. So it'll go very fast, but we really look forward to hearing from you and learning from you. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Jingliang Cai, who is the chairman of the board of UCA, United Chinese Americans.
Hi, my name is Jingliang Cai. I'm the board chair for UCA. UCA stands for United Chinese Americans. It is an organization founded 2016, has been fast growing, and right now representing 40-some chapters and community partner organizations around the country. And every 2 years, we hold a national convention, inviting people from all the country to meet and engage with congressional leaders. This year, we have more than 500 people coming to the convention right now, representing 32 states. So it is a great opportunity for me to introduce some of your constituents that speak to their representatives. So thank you very much. I'm going to pass the mic on to Mr. Wang.
Hi, Casey. How are you? Good afternoon. Thanks for meeting us. So my name is Hua Wang. I'm from Lexington, Massachusetts. So I am in MA5, And so one of the things about, Rep. Clark is she's no stranger to us. And in fact, we just met her during the AAPI Heritage Month celebration in Malden, and with a number of us here. And were you there?
I was not, but I was helping with a lot of the outreach from DC. So
that's right. You know that big event there, right? In Malden, we had the celebration, and of course, my personally, my first time get to know the Congresswoman, Rep. Clark was actually on one of her campaign trails, and then she held, fundraising in our state rep, Michelle Secola's house. Actually her parents' house, and I was there too. So this is, Jingliang mentioned about UCA as a civic engagement, civic participation, but we do political engagement through many ways. We're nonprofit, so we don't directly involved with the campaign, but many of us are actively, working with, people like Rep. Clark. And at the Malden event, I think when we introduced Rep. Clark, she was touted as the most powerful woman in Massachusetts. And I think you know why, right? So I think one of the things, if you get to her office, you may see a mug on her desk. It's from the Chinese American Association of Lexington. That was one hour token appreciation when we met her. But in any case, so that's the stage to say we are from her district, and there's a number of other people here is from Massachusetts. and some are from other districts as well. And we have a number of concerns and issues that we'd like to share with your office. In particular, given the big atmosphere about the current this anti-Asian hate and incidents and crimes and so forth, right? So a lot of things have happened, has improved. For example, the COVID hate crime has passed the Congress. It's not allowed now. But still, one thing actually is surprising. This year the number of incidents of Asian anti-Asian hate crime is actually increased from last year. Right. This is after the bill is passed. So that tell us the daunting challenge and also put our entire community at edge. So we're going to have a number of youth leaders here, and they will share some of their thoughts and concerns with you. Thank you, Casey.
So Wenhua, let me ask everyone to introduce themselves, kind of tell about where you're from and why are you here today. And then I would also then after that let Casey introduce himself as well.
Hi Casey, nice to meet you. My name is Billy. I'm from Malden, Mass, which is Rep. Clark's part of N5. So very exciting to be here. I'm a local community organizer in Malden, and I work with many of our local volunteer groups and local nonprofits to make sure that youth are engaged and focused on the table. And basically why I'm here at the UCA Convention all the way in DC is I'm excited to be part of a national organization that unites all of us together. So yeah, I'll pass it on.
Hi, my name is Angel. I'm a rising junior at Sharon High School, which is not in Representative Clark's district. I'm in the 4th Congressional District, and I'm really excited to be here talking to you about issues that we, like young Asian Americans, are thinking about.
Hi, I'm Julie, and I'm from the 4th Congressional District as well, and I'm a rising sophomore in Wellesley High School.
Hi, my name is Casey. My name is Jerry Daw. I'm from Pomfret School, Connecticut. I also live in Massachusetts. I live in Newton. So today I'm going to talk more about how Asian athlete really related to the Asian hate crimes. There's a lot of Asian athletes and my friends, the teammates, especially the Asians, are not actually paying, the coaches not paying a lot of attention on this. So that's why I'm here today.
Great, thank you so much. And then let's turn over to Casey. Casey, if you could introduce yourself. We would also love to hear a little more about what the representative is working on. And then after you introduce yourself, we can then ask the panelists to speak about their issues.
Absolutely. So pleasure to meet all of you. And it's so great to see so many people from our district here on this call. I'm Casey Davison. I am Congresswoman covering foreign affairs issues, defense issues, and energy and environment issues. It's just such a pleasure to meet with all of you. Right now, we're actually in the middle of voting on the House floor on annual defense offers. It's been very, very busy on the Hill recently. And we get a lot of bills done before August recess, at least in our chamber. Really happy to be able to make the time
Because you're coming in and out just a little bit, maybe your Wi-Fi, but it's okay. Let's go ahead and continue. We'll ask the panelists to speak, and then we'll see if we can try to do some technical stuff on our end. But let me turn it back to Wenhua. I know our panelist of distinguished speakers and also our youth ambassadors have a few issues that they would like to discuss with you. So let them speak, and then we'd like to hear your feedback as well.
Great. Okay, so Peggy, why don't you go first?
Okay. Hi again. So I think a lot of us, I think here within the Chinese American community, and we were trying to talk about this, is I think the important question of how do we create safe communities for our Chinese elders, but I think in general, excuse me, and I think kind of that question leads back to the culture. I know that there's been many legislation happening both within the state of Massachusetts that tackles anti-Asian hate, but also on the federal level as well. But I think also something that often gets left unsaid is the culture. And so it's like, how do we create that inclusive culture? And I think that really comes through education. And as I mentioned, I'm from Malden, and Malden is 25% Asian American, but specifically Chinese American as well. So basically a lot of my high school peers and classmates, we all identify as Chinese Americans, specifically low income. And I think kind of that culture really starts with that education and making sure that we're included in the curriculum, we're included in the classrooms and things like that. And I know there are limitations in terms of what can happen on the federal level, but I think also there are definitely a lot of local action that can happen in terms of community partnerships with different congressional offices to make sure that we're having that safe culture and we're having a inclusive and respectful culture that makes sure that we can have respectful dialogue between our community, but also with our allies as well, and making sure that we're able to, one, build solidarity with each other, so that we're able to better understand each other and better understand our struggles and experiences, but also it really creates that inclusive culture to make sure that we're all able to stay together and make sure that we're all able to fight alongside together rather than against each other. So thank you.
Hi again, I'm Julie, as I said, and one concern that we both share is the pressures that we as Asian Americans face. There can be outside pressures such as US-China relations and tension between the two countries, as well as internal pressures such as like stereotypes and things like that. And these pressures really affect our community's dynamic with other groups of people, as well as how our identities are formed. And we'd like to focus specifically on the current USCIA bills and their impacts on our community. And so the community really appreciates the efforts by congressional leaders in boosting up STEM investments, solving supply chain shortage, things like that. However, the current and possible future bills can single out the Chinese community as they target for racial profiling, increased fear and warmongering, and add to hate crimes and hostility against the community in a Cold War atmosphere. And such mentality can hurt international collaborations and stall progress made by legal communities. And Angel will speak more on that.
Okay. Yeah, hi, my name is Angel, like I said before as well. So I want to address a little bit about what Julie said about like how rhetoric and language is used within government. It is really inspiring for me to see people who look like me in government, and I want that representation to spread along like every single part of our government, and that includes like how our legislation is framed. A lot of young Asian Americans and specifically Chinese Americans like me are very worried about like how American government leaders frame China as like an enemy or a sense of hatred, and that leads to a lot of Chinese Americans having to pick sides, especially between China versus America, of course. And we just wanted to ask your thoughts and to address like how Chinese American youths like me feel about like hatred towards China being directed at people who look like us.
These are all incredibly important points. Oh, am I good to respond, or are we going to pass it on to another speaker really quick?
Actually, why don't we let you respond, but we have a couple, I think one or two more speakers, but let's go ahead and let you respond, and then we can pivot back to the panelists.
Sure, I figured now is a good time because a lot of really important points are being brought up, and I'll start with legislation and also the rhetoric coming out of Congress. I think during these incredibly times and or constitutional environment, it's so important that our lawmakers talk about these issues with the utmost dignity for the doing and not to incite. This is an issue that Congressman obviously feels incredibly strongly about, and first condemns some of the insane rhetoric like Alex at the beginning. And it was sadly to this day, especially among members of the public, that we are trying to really sound the alarm on. And it's so important that we also look at the intent behind legislative considered in Congress, especially in this case. And we the Congresswoman has really strong connections with members in Congress, like saying we will usually reach out to you on legislation to ensure that what we're looking at and legislation we're considering in this case maintains sensitivity on this issue. It's something that we're always trying to be super kind about, and also be incredibly vocal and strong support that are actually that also speaks to what one of those, education. I think it's so important that we pass bills like the Voting Act, but legislation alone, especially at the level, isn't it absolutely is our community-wide effort, community-driven effort, to ensure that everyone in our communities, cultures, faiths, etc. And a lot of that is grassroots driven, and it's being done by organizations like your own. It's so important and impactful for lawmakers and our staff. Meet with all of you, to hear from all of you, and do own efforts.
Great. Thank you so much, Casey. Really appreciate that response and really appreciate your insight as well. I think we have one more speaker, one or two, so I'll turn it over back to you.
So we have a couple more questions. Thank you.
Hi Casey, so my name is Jerry Daw. I'm a high school student. I'm an athlete. I play soccer and track and field. I think sports is really a big culture in America, and it's actually a great way to make friends and to be into the culture. But however, the problem is a lot of American Chinese are not getting equal treated as an athlete, which is a really big problem. And so the culture is not paying a lot of attention on Asian athlete and Chinese athlete, and especially which cause a lot of hate in there and racism in there. Chinese students it's hard to make friends with Americans sometimes because of sport. So I hope the government can really start to pay more attention to this part, because the children, the Chinese students, doesn't matter if they're Asian students or other students, but they are the future. So it's really important to build this strong relationship starting from sport. That's basically it's really important. And this thing will actually solve a lot of problems that goes down to the future. So I hope the government can pay more attention to sport areas, especially for the Asian athlete, which will be more helpful with the connections.
Well, and I'm so sorry to hear that that's the experience that you're having here, because of course sport should be a big bridge between divides, and it should be an opportunity to help workers learn from each other and grow and become more tolerant and accepting. So I'm sorry to hear that you experienced that in your time here, and absolutely.
Thank you, Casey. Actually, one of the things we do want to point out, we appreciate Rep. Clark. There is an office, it's called, in the group, it's called the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, CPAC. And, it's of course led by Representative Judy Chu and a few others. And we're very heartened to know that Rep. Clark is associate member with that caucus. And I think, we do like, your office to continue engaging the KPAC, because that is, the voice, and also really, the community, a lot of the concerns will go through their office. And, the panel today mentioned 1 or 2 bills, but there's really,
say, shout out to KPAC, all of our staff are in very close contact at KPAC staff, that we are offices made major priorities. So we're a proud ally. Really, in terms of best ways in which contact us, I'm happy to provide additional information after this call. But when it comes to any of our conversations, who need assistance, all the federal government, either through immigration-related matters, or maybe social security, or other issues. We have an entire staff where more than helping you in that regard. If you have any questions about legislation, or have any help us a bill, or want to make opinions on various matters that they're happening. You're also going to welcome us, in our absolutely hear you out, and or shared with. And I'm happy to connect offline, and there's obviously a website, also happy to send my mail over to you all. And definitely want to make sure that all of you are able to
Thank you so much, Casey. Again, the Wi-Fi kind of went in and out a little bit, but I think we caught most of what you said and really appreciate your feedback. What I think in terms of next step, we want to make sure that, especially your constituents and those that support the representative, have an opportunity to maybe follow up with you, and definitely want to make sure our distinguished leaders have an opportunity to continue to engage. So hopefully we will follow. We definitely plan to follow up, and so please be on the lookout for a message from us. And then for closing, I just want to introduce Mr. Hai Pei, who is the president of UCA. He's going to close for us. And thank you so much again, Casey, for your time and your attention.
Hi, Casey. My name is Hai Pei, representing UCA. Thank you so much for your time, and especially for stepping for the Congresswoman Catherine Clark. We have a strong chapter in Boston, and most of them are in the suburb. And I know quite a few townlands where our friends are thinking very highly of the Congresswoman for what she has been doing and in reaching out to Asian American communities. Just one quick word. I hope that you can convey this to the Congresswoman, that Chinese Americans, among all Asian Americans, are going through a very tough time. Both because of an anti-Asian hate wave and economic distress, and beyond that, also a very dark clouds over their head about the worsening U.S.-China relations. And this is no small matters. Our community has gone through those episodes several times in the U.S. history, from Chinese Exclusion Act to the 50s, the McCarthyism against seeking spies everywhere in the communism. There's certainly kind of an echo of that in today's Washington, D.C. environment, and you are very well off. And so we wish that the Congresswoman can stand up for us a little bit more and join the KPAC if she can. That's where our best instrument on Capitol Hill. And thanks again for the Congresswoman.
Thank you, Casey. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to meeting you in person, maybe next year or soon.
Likewise, yes.